welcome back to my channel, Storybook Crochet. Today we are getting into the holiday spirit with a brand new crochet pattern, the Ornament Christmas Cookie. This adorable little treat is perfect for your Christmas tree, as a gift topper, or just to add some festive charm to your decor. And if you missed it, here is a quick sneak peek at the Christmas tree cookie from my last video. This one is a fun complement to today's pattern, so be sure to check it out if you haven't already. Grab your hooks, cozy up, and let's get crocheting those sweet festive treats together. For today's pattern, I am using worsted yarn in a brown and a white. I am using a US E-hook, which is 3.5 millimeters. You're going to need some scissors, a yarn needle, a stitch marker, and you're going to need two 12mm safety eyes. You'll also want to grab some stuffing so you can stuff your ornament before we close. So grab all those supplies and we'll get going. All right, to make our ornament cookie, we're going to make two different panels, so the front and the back separately, and then we will just crochet them together at the end. So you're going to start out by using your brown yarn, and you're going to make a magic ring. And then in this magic ring, we're going to make 6 single crochets. All right, once you have made your 6 single crochets, you're just going to pull that tail to close that opening. All right, so moving on to round number 2, we're going to increase in each stitch around. So by increasing, we're putting 2 single crochets in each stitch. So go into that very first stitch of the last round. You're going to make your first single crochet, and then you're going to go back into that same stitch and make your second single crochet. And you'll just repeat that around. So 2 single crochets in each stitch, and this gives you a total of 12 single crochets at the end of round number 2. All right, moving on to round number 3, we're going to start by making 1 single crochet in the very first stitch, and then in the second stitch we're going to increase. So put your 2 single crochets in that second stitch. And then we're just going to repeat that pattern around. So 1 single crochet and increase. At the end of round 3, you will have a total of 18 single crochets. For round 4, we're going to start with 1 single crochet in the first stitch. And then you're going to increase again in that second stitch. After this, we're going to switch to the pattern of 2 single crochets and then increase. So over the next 2 stitches, you'll put 1 single crochet in each of those, and then you're going to increase in that third stitch. And then you'll just repeat that around, 2 single crochets, and then increase. At the end of this round, when you get your last increase made, you'll have 1 stitch left. You'll just put 1 single crochet in that very last stitch. Okay, so I finished my last increase. I'll put my last single crochet in the last stitch there to finish off round number 4. So for round number 5, we're going to start by making 3 single crochets, and then we'll increase. So 1 single crochet, 2, and 3, and then we'll increase in that third stitch there. And you'll just repeat that around again. So 3 single crochets and increase. Your last stitch of this round should end with an increase. All right, moving on to round number 6, we're going to start by making 2 single crochets over the first 2 stitches. So 1 in each of those 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then we'll increase in that third stitch. And then after that increase, we're going to switch to doing 4 single crochets and then increase. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then increase in that 5th stitch. And you'll repeat that around 4 single crochets and increase. After your last increase is made, you'll have 2 stitches left. You'll just put 1 single crochet in those last 2 stitches. All right, we have 2 more increase rounds to go. So for round number 7, we're going to make 5 single crochets. And then you'll increase in the 6th stitch. And you'll just repeat that pattern around. So 5 single crochets and increase. And this round will end with an increase in the last stitch. All right, for our last increase round, we're going to start out by making 3 single crochets. And then you're going to increase in that 4th stitch. And then we're going to continue the pattern of 6 single crochets and increase around. Okay, once you have your 6 made, go ahead and make your increase. And then you'll just repeat that around, 6 single crochets and increase. After your last increase is made, you'll have 3 stitches left. You'll just put 1 single crochet in those last 3 stitches. All right, so that was our last round. Now we're going to make the top part for the ornament here. So to do that, we're going to slip stitch, but we're going to skip this first stitch here and slip stitch into the 2nd stitch. It just makes that a little bit flatter when you skip that first one. All right, once you have your slip stitch made, you're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet over the next 5. So just go into that same stitch as your chain, make a single crochet, and then make 4 more single crochets across. All right, once you have that row done, you're going to chain 1 and turn your piece over. Okay, so we have 1 row left. So for row 2, we're going to start with a decrease. So you're going to insert your hook into that first stitch there, the same one as your chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then you're going to insert your hook into the 2nd stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So we turned those first 2 stitches into 1. Okay, so next, after your first decrease here, you're just going to single crochet in the next stitch. And then over the last 2 stitches, you're going to do another decrease. Okay, once that's finished, we are finished with our first panel here. So just pull out that loop and cut a shorter tail. And then you'll just want to use your yarn needle to weave that in. And then you'll set that aside, and then you're going to make a second one exactly like the first. So you can just re-watch the first part of this video to make your second panel here. And then after you get that done, we're going to make the face details with the icing and then put our eyes on. Alright, so we're now going to work on the face details, and we're going to start by making the icing. So you'll need to grab your white yarn and one of your panels for your ornament here. So you're going to be using your hook to create the icing effect. We're going to start by going around the outside circle here. So you'll just insert your hook into one of the stitches here for the outside edging. And then you're just going to grab your white yarn and pull that through. Okay, so to do our first stitch, we're just going to go into that next stitch there. Insert your hook, pull your yarn up, and then pull it through the loop on your hook. And this is what you need to do to surface crochet. So just insert into the next one, pull your yarn through, and pull it through your loop. And then you'll just do this process completely around the circle until you get back to the very first edge there, or the very first stitch that you made. once you come to the end there, you're just going to go into the same stitch that you started with to make your last surface crochet stitch here. When you're done with that, go ahead and pull that loop up and cut a tail, and then don't pull that through the loop. We're going to go ahead and insert it into our needle here, and then you're going to bring the needle up through the very first stitch that you made, right directly in the middle of the 2 loops of that stitch. Okay, and then you're going to weave that through your loop as you bring that up. And then just pull all of the tails tightly, and that just creates that last stitch there. Okay, once you have that done, you're going to come back down through the next stitch, directly through the middle of it to bring it to the back side of your work here. And that finishes off the very first part of our icing. And then I just go ahead and tie off the back here. You can also weave those ends in if you prefer to do it that way. This will all be hidden though once we put the 2 panels together and crochet those together. Alright, so you're just going to repeat the same process for the top part here. So I'll show you this one, and then you're just going to make 2 wavy lines. You can use sewing pins to kind of help guide you where you want your lines to go. So you're just going to go ahead and make 2 waves, one on the top and one on the bottom. So to do the top part here, we're going to go ahead and insert our hook into that very stitch right there at the edging. And then grab our yarn. And then you're just going to go around that very top part of the ornament. And then you'll come back down through the very center of that next corresponding stitch of our white. Okay, so that finishes off the top. So you do the same process when finishing that off. Grab your yarn needle, come up through that next stitch there, and then through the loop, and then pull that tight. Alright, and then you'll just come down through the next stitch. And then you'll just tie the 2 ends together. So complete that same process for your 2 wavy lines, and then I'll show you where to put the eyes and how to finish that off. Alright, so we are now finished with our icing, so we can put our eyes on. For this one, I put them kind of in the middle, but I think for this next one, I'm going to put them a little bit lower. So just figure out what placement you like best. And then I go like 3 rows over and place them in between rows 3 and 4 if you do it in the middle here. So for this one, I'm going to come just a little bit lower for the eyes. So go ahead and find your placement on where you want those. Okay, I think I like that, so go ahead and snap your backs on. And then you'll want to grab a small length of white yarn and your needle, and we're going to go ahead and put the highlights on the edges of the eyes. And if your highlights don't stay up, you can always add a small amount of glue underneath to just kind of hold those down. Alright, so we'll go ahead and come up through the back at the very bottom of the first eye here. And then I go about 3/4 of the way up the side and then come back down. Pull that tight and then do the same process for the second eye. Alright, that looks cute. So go ahead and tie those off or weave those in, and then you're going to want to grab your second panel next, and we'll go ahead and finish off our cookie. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and connect our 2 panels. So you'll want to connect them obviously to where the face is facing towards you. And then whichever side you want showing, which will be the right side of it where it looks nice and neat, you'll want that facing out the back. So you'll connect the two wrong sides together. And you're just going to match up each corresponding stitch. And then we're just going to simply single crochet around. The only difference is in the corners here, we're going to put 2 single crochets in the corners, but the rest of it is all just 1 single crochet around. So it doesn't really matter where you start, you're just going to find one of your stitches here, just making sure you do not connect in the white. You want to leave that unworked, and then you'll find the corresponding stitch, just making sure it's matching up perfectly, and insert your hook through both sides of your panels here. Then you'll just grab that yarn and pull that through and chain 1, and that connects our 2 pieces together. So go into that same stitch, insert your hook through both panels here, and make your first single crochet. And then you're simply just going to single crochet around, just being very careful about not going into the white icing stitches. Alright, so just keep going around. Again, when you get to the top corners here of the very top part of our ornament, you're going to put 2 single crochets. So before you finish off, when you get about 3/4 away, you're going to stop, and then I'll show you how to stuff it and then finish it off. Alright, so I've got about 3/4 of the way around, so let's go ahead and grab some fiber fill here. And you don't want to overstuff it, but just enough to give it a little bit of dimension here. Get it all the way in the bottom. And then you'll just add a little more stuffing as you continue single crocheting around to get it completely stuffed before you close it. Okay, so once you're happy with that, go ahead and finish single crocheting around, putting those 2 single crochets in the corners. And then, like I said, just keep adding more stuffing as you get closer to the end so that you can get the top part filled in too. And then we will finish off our ornament. Alright, once you've made your last single crochet, you're just going to slip stitch to the very first one that you made to finish it off. And then just cut a small length of a tail here, and then you'll just weave that in like normal. So go ahead and finish that off and weave that last tail in there, and then our ornament will be finished. Thank you so much for joining me today to make these adorable ornament sugar cookie crochet patterns. I hope you had fun and feel inspired to add a little more handmade touch to your holiday decorations. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more crochet tutorials. I'd love to see your creations, so be sure to tag me on your Instagram or TikTok posts. Happy crocheting, and I will see you in the next video.